Alright, hello everyone. God bless. I am going to do a video showing with scripture that the Romans, uh, the Spartans, and possibly another European kingdom that's not exactly named also are all Hebrew. So maybe I'll do more examples of these kinds of things, but if you go to the first book of Maccabees, um, chapter 7. I'm just going to basically read these accounts and what happened, and then I'll kind of go over it at the end. But basically, the book of Maccabees is it's deemed deuterocanonical, which is the secondary canon by the church, right? Which, if you're still listening to the church, then God bless you with a spirit of understanding and to better your discernment. That's all I can say about that. But read these for yourself, and you kind of verify whether or not they're inspired scripture. Don't take anyone else's second or third hand accounts on it, like I did for so many years, and I'd reject books. I mean, not so many years, because I really just got into the word seriously the past year and a half. But don't reject books based on second and third hand accounts. Read it for yourself and see where you can find the similarities, and if you see contradictions, then bring those to light and obviously throw it out, because the word doesn't contradict itself. But I've yet to find any contradictions with many of these so-called hidden books or lost books of the Bible or apocryphal books, whatever you want to call them, even the pseudepigraphal ones. So alright, the first book of Maccabees, let's start. So there was Judas, who was nicknamed Maccabeus, and these were all sons of Mattathias. Okay, so it's Judas, Jonathan, and Simon were all brothers, and they were fighting, I don't know the time period, I don't know, 400, 300 BC, 500 BC, between 3 and 500 BC. It's just a rough estimate. It might have even been earlier than that. It might have been like 100 BC or something. I don't know. We'll just say between the 1st and 5th century BC. I'm sure it was over like a couple hundred years, because it starts off with Matthias and then goes into his kids. So anyways, in the 100, and this is chapter 7, verse 1. I'm going to go with Judas's account first, and then I'm going to go into Jonathan, which is a little bit longer, and we see some of the letters written, and then I'll go into Simon lastly. Now, I want to point this out too, because there's a king called Demetrius. It doesn't exactly say the kingdom that he's from, and this is one of the people that this whole book is about wars. They're going through tons of wars, right? And this is part of what I believe is during the dispersion period of when the European nations were warring with both each other all the time and also the true Hebrews in Judah that went back to Jerusalem. And this is one example of one of those people that were against the Hebrews, but they were, like, think about Rehoboam and Jeroboam when, I'm sorry, is that even the right? When the split between Israel and Judah first happened, right? Judah and Israel became enemies. They're still one family, but they became enemies, and they warred against each other for centuries back in the Old Testament. I guess this would still be deemed Old Testament, but you guys know what I mean. In Kings and 1 Kings, 2 Kings, and Chronicles and whatnot. So, anyways, chapter 7, first book of Maccabees. We'll start with verse 1 because I want to show you who this Demetrius guy is. In the 101 and 50th year, this is of the reign 150th and 1. This is during the it was like the emperor of the empire of the Greeks, or the reign of the Greeks, or something like that. But this is in the 101 and 50th year. Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, departed from Rome. It's very vague here. It makes me wonder if there's more to be learned about this stuff. And came up with a few men unto a city of the seacoast, and reigned there. That's it. And as he entered into the palace of his ancestors, okay, so it was that his forces had taken Antiochus and Lysias to bring them unto him, which I believe these were, I won't get into that. Wherefore, when he knew it, he said, Let me not see their faces. So his host slew them. Now when Demetrius was set upon the throne of his kingdom, there came to him all the wicked and ungodly men of Israel, having Alcimus, who was desirous to be high priest, for their captain. And they accused the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends and driven us out of our own land. Judas was a good guy in the Hebrews that wasn't adopting the pagan ways that was being forced upon them by the Greeks, and yada yada. Now, this is the beginning of Demetrius getting set upon the throne of his kingdom, but it doesn't exactly say what kingdom that was, because it says he departed from Rome. And this is the first that he's mentioned here, and he came up with a few men unto a city of the seacoast and reigned there. It's very, very vague, you know. What is it? Is this talking about Britain? Is this talking about Spain? Is this talking about, you know, a coast of Africa? Is this one of the islands of Italy? I don't know. So anyways, let's go into these other accounts. I just wanted to point that one thing out, that, you know, the people warring with the Hebrews and Judah, the ones that remain in Judah, were their own people, is what I've come to understand. Anyways, let's go into Judas's account. Judas Maccabees, not Judas, the bad guy Judas, who we all know about, but Judas Maccabees, and then Jonathan, and then Simon. So chapter 8. I'm just going to start reading, and then I'll kind of bring it all into my understanding at the end. Now Judas had heard of the fame of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men. And by the way, this is like during the reign of the Greek period. So this isn't when Rome was all powerful and haughty and everything and super, super advanced. This was like, I believe, in the beginning stages maybe. Now Judas had heard the fame of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them. That's pretty nice. And make a league of amity with all that came unto them. And that they were men of great valor. It was told him also of their wars and noble acts, which they had done among the Galatians, and how they conquered them and brought them under tribute. Now, there's some minor evidence that leads me to believe, like myself and others, to believe that the Galatians possibly have to do with either the people that eventually became the Gauls and the Goths, which would eventually become Englishmen, and also in Germany and all sorts of stuff. So anyways, and what they had done in the country of Spain. Okay, so now we got a European country here, for the winning of the mines of the silver and gold which is there, and that by their policy and patience they had conquered all the place, though it were very far from them, and the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth, till they had discomfited them. I know it says discomfited, not discomforted. I don't know exactly what that word's even supposed to mean. And given them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year. Besides this, how they had discomfited in battle Philip and Perseus, king of the Chittims, with others that lifted up themselves against them, and had overcome them. Now, in the book of Jasher, it goes into a lot of the wars of the Chittims, and it talks about the Africans that warred against the Chittims, and the Africans were allied with Egypt, and then the Africans and the Chittims also allied. So I don't know if the Chittims were black or exactly too much about the Chittims, but I need to go back and check out Jasher, because there's a lot of information about them there. So anyways, so it goes into some other stuff, and it's talking about how Judas learned some other events about these Romans that, you know, were relatively new. It was told him besides how they destroyed and brought under their dominion all other kingdoms and isles, maybe British Isles, I don't know, that at any time resisted them, but with their friends and such as relied upon them, and they kept amity, and that they had conquered kingdoms both far and nigh, insomuch as all they had heard of their name were afraid of them. Also that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign, and whom again they would, they displace. Finally, that they were greatly exalted. Yet for all this none of them wore a crown, or was clothed in purple, to be magnified thereby. Moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house, wherein 320 men sat in a council daily, consulting a way for the people, to the end they might be well ordered, and that they committed their government to one man every year, who ruled over all their country, and all that were obedient to that one, and that there was neither envy nor emulation among them. Sounds kind of like, precursor to the U.S., who people say the 13 colonies were something similar to the 13 tribes that came from England or something like that. That's what some people have claimed. So anyways, then it says Judas sent some ambassadors to them, and he wrote to them, and they were going to make a confederacy of peace with them, and the matter pleased the Romans well. Good success be to the Romans and to the people of the Jews by sea and land forever. The sword also and enemy be far from them. If there come first any war upon the Romans or any of their confederates throughout all their dominion, the people of the Jews shall help them. And this is Judas saying this through his ambassadors. With all their heart, the people of the Jews shall help them with all their heart. Neither shall they give anything unto them that make war upon them, or aid them with victuals, weapons, monies, or ships, as it hath seemed good unto the Romans. But they shall keep their covenants without taking anything therefore. In the same manner also, if war come first upon the nation of the Jews, the Romans shall help with all their heart, according as the time shall be appointed. Neither victuals shall be given to them that take part against them, weapons, money, ships, whatever, as hath it seemed good to the Romans. But they shall keep their covenants, and that without deceit. According to these articles did the Romans make a covenant with the people of the Jews. Howbeit, if hereafter the one party or the other shall think meet to or add or diminish anything, they may do it at their pleasures, and whatsoever they shall add or take away shall be ratified. Now here's a good part. And also, and as touching the evils that Demetrius doeth to the Jews, we have written unto him, saying, Wherefore hast thou made thy yoke heavy upon our friends and confederates the Jews? If therefore they complain any more against thee, we will do them justice and fight with thee by sea and by land. So you can tell that Demetrius wasn't a Roman anymore necessarily. He had got some other country or kingdom, which, I'm assuming is something in Europe that he was starting to found. Anyways, let's go to Jonathan's account now. Okay, this is really important. Pay attention here, because this is like the meat and the potatoes here. Now, this is chapter 12, verse 1. I'm just going to read this whole thing down. It's basically the letter that they send back and forth to each other after the ambassadors go. Now, when Jonathan saw that the time served him, he chose certain men and sent them to Rome for to confirm and renew the friendship that they had with them. He sent letters also to the Lacedaemonians. Okay, pay attention. Let's see. What are the Lacedaemonians? They are from Laconia, which is a region of Greece and the southeastern part of the Peloponnesian Peninsula. Its administrative capital is Sparta. Okay. And the word is an analogy to speak in a concise way. A lot of people say that a lot of all the European languages, they all root basically from the Hebrew. That's what a lot of people are saying these days. So remember that thing about the Lacedaemonians, about Laconia and their capitals, the Sparta. So anyways, he sent letters also to the Lacedaemonians and to other places for the same purpose. Okay, so check it out. He sent a letter to the Lacedaemonians and other places for the same purpose, but it was this copy of this letter that he sent. Okay, now here's the letter. So they went unto Rome and entered into the Senate and said, Jonathan the high priest and the people of the Jews sent us unto you, to the end ye should renew the friendship which ye had with them and league as in former time. Upon this the Romans gave them letters from or unto the governors of every place, that they should bring them into the land of Judea peaceably. Okay, so Jonathan, hold on one second. Okay, sorry. I paused it and I kind of lost my train of thought. So basically, Jonathan sent his ambassadors with letters to them, and then the Romans in the other places that the governors of the other places were giving letters back to the ambassadors to send back to Judah, letters of peace. So upon this, the Romans gave them letters from or unto the governors of every place, that they should bring them into the land of Judea peaceably. And this is the copy of the letters which Jonathan wrote to the Lacedaemonians. Pay attention. Jonathan the high priest and the elders of the nation and the priests and the other people of the Jews, unto the Lacedaemonians, their brethren, send greeting. The Lacedaemonians, their brethren. Okay, keep paying attention. There were letters sent in times past unto Onias the high priest from Darius, who reigned then among you, to signify that ye are our brethren, as the copy here underwritten doth specify. At which time Onias entreated the ambassador that was sent honorably, and received the letters wherein declaration was made of the league and friendship. Therefore we also, albeit we need none of these things, for that we have the holy books of Scripture in our hands to comfort us. Okay, so they had copies of letters and other things from Darius and Onias the high priest, which signified that the Hebrews were the brothers of these Lacedaemonians and the other people that these letters were going to, aside from the Lacedaemonians. So these are the lost 12 tribes that are throughout Europe, and whoever they're writing to, I don't know exactly, but and they're saying, therefore we also, albeit we need none of these things, for we have the holy books of Scripture in our hands to comfort us, have nevertheless attempted to send unto you for the renewing of our brotherhood and friendship, lest we should become strangers unto you altogether. Okay? It's because they're warring through these periods. They stop talking to each other. They're far away now. They're not neighbors anymore. For there is a long time past since ye sent unto us. We therefore at all times without ceasing, both in our feasts and other covenant days, do remember you in the sacrifices which we offer, and in our prayers, as reason is, and as is it becometh us to think about our brethren. So these are their brothers, and they're saying, hey, we're still praying for you on our holy days and our feasts and stuff like that. I mean, that's a big deal, right? They're not doing those for, the Aztecs or the Chinese exactly. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Chinese and the Aztecs. You guys get my point. These are their own people. And we are right glad of your honor, because they were honorable and they had a lot of, anyways. As for ourselves, we have had great troubles and wars on every side. For so much as the kings that are round about us have fought against us. Howbeit, we would not be troublesome unto you, nor to others of our confederates and our friends in these wars. Confederates I've translated loosely to like alliance. For we have help from heaven that secureth us, so as we are delivered from our enemies, and our enemies are brought under foot. That's funny that they're bringing up heaven. Do you think they'd bring up heaven to just any people that aren't a believer in the Most High? And I don't know, maybe they would, but I just think it's funny that they bring up heaven specifically in these letters to these people. Obviously, they must know or believe about heaven to some degree. For this cause we chose Numenius, the son of Antiochus, and Antipater, the son of Jason, and sent them unto the Romans to renew the amity that we had with them, and with the former league, and the former league. We commanded them also to go unto you, and to salute you, and to deliver you our letters concerning the renewing of our brotherhood. Okay? Wherefore now ye shall do well to give us an answer thereto. And this is the copy of the letters which Oneris sent. So this is the response from the Lacedaemonians, okay, which are the Spartans. We'll see in a second. It is found in writing that the Lacedaemonians and Jews are brethren, and that they are of the stock of Abraham. This is Onias, the high priest of the Lacedaemonians, the Spartans. Okay, and we'll see that again mentioned in a second. This is what he says: it is found in writing that the Lacedaemonians and Jews are brethren, that they are the stock of Abraham. Okay, and this also should include the Romans and then these other countries that we're not necessarily knowledgeable about, that are possibly under the Roman early control, which might be, who knows? I'm just saying France, Czechoslovakia, whatever, maybe the early days of Britain, whatever. So you see where he said that Jonathan, Judas Maccabeus' brother, said that we don't need these writings and stuff because we have the Holy Scriptures. But then Onias the high priest says, it is found in writing that the Lacedaemonians and Jews are brethren, and that they are of the stock of Abraham. Now therefore, since this has come to our knowledge, right, because they didn't realize this before, ye shall do well to write unto us of your prosperity. We do write back again to you, that your cattle and goods are ours, and our cattle and goods are yours. We do command, therefore, our ambassadors to make report unto you on this wise. So then it goes straight in from these letters to now wars with other people. It's kind of funny, but that was really important. And then we go into Simon's account, right? When Simon reaches out to them again after Jonathan ends up. Okay, so look. So this is chapter 14, verse 16 through 20. Now, the book of Maccabees. Now, when it was heard at Rome and as far as Sparta, that John, and this is the only time Sparta is used in this whole book, right? And who's Sparta talking about? The Lacedaemonians. Sparta is their capital. Now, when it was heard at Rome and as far as Sparta that Jonathan was dead, they were very sorry. But as soon as they heard that his brother Simon was made high priest in his stead and ruled the country and the cities therein, they wrote unto him in tables of brass to renew the friendship and league which they had made with Judas and Jonathan his brethren, which were his brothers, which writings were read before the congregation at Jerusalem. And this is the copy of the letters that the Lacedaemonians sent, the rulers of the Lacedaemonians with the city unto Simon the high priest, and the elders and the priests, and residue of the people of the Jews, our brethren, sending greeting. That could also be read as, and remnant of the people of Judah, our brethren, send greeting, right? It's calling them as far as Sparta, right? From Rome and Sparta are writing to these people, calling the remnant of the people of the Jews, our brethren, send greeting. They're sending greetings to them. They're calling them their brothers. Okay. Notice also how Judas and Jonathan, his brethren, it's talking about Simon, it's literally his brothers, his flesh brothers. Brethren and brothers are used interchangeably. Okay. So we know that these are the same kinsfolk, the same people, the Spartans, the Jews, the Romans. They're all Hebrew. They're all the 12 tribes of Israel. And then further, I would say Demetrius, whatever he was, whether, they talked about before Rome doing things in Spain and in isles that were near and far. I mean, this whole European continent. Back to this letter, I want to see the ambassadors that were sent unto our people. Hold on. It just basically says that we're making these things public records, the alliances that we've had before, and we're renewing this again. And then it goes into the people loved Simon, his own people loved him, and what they did for him after. But yeah, this is a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. But God bless everyone. I hope you. Hope I'm making myself clear here. Check out my video, Lost Tribes of Israel, the first part and the second part. I don't know if this will be the third part or what this will be, but yeah. God bless you guys. Bye bye.